wish I had a lighter. Welcome, everybody, to day 16 of the Beer Advent Calendar. The Beer Advent Calendar provided to us by...
Parallel 49 and Central City.
Yeah, it would be so great if they gave it to us for free, but no, we're like everyone else. We have to
like everyone else, we had to pay for it. It's a Great White Wonder Adventure Pack.
And yeah, it's actually kind of cool because this particular beer today is very special to my heart. I actually I have no idea what it is, but I'm
so yesterday was Thor's Hammer, so this is the follow-up to Thor's Hammer. So let's see
if Thor's Hammer's follow-up is going to match our expectations. Are you ready?
16. So reach into your bag, pull it out, Shane. What is it?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet. It is.
Interesting pick.
Alakazam. Sorry, I had to make sure that I was saying that right because the font is hard to read. It's Alakazam, strong beer. Peppercorn Saison. No, sorry. Szechuan Peppercorn Saison. I seem to remember we had this last year. Or something similar to it.
I don't recall this ever.
No?
Like, I've never had this.
The magician seems familiar, but of course that could have been on anything. We bet that you've had a way easier time spelling abracadabra than you would Szechuan peppercorn. This one has a bitterness, which is middle of the road, and the maltiness is a bit lower than that. 6% alcohol by volume. And basically, yeah, Parallel 49 is getting weird on us a little bit.
I'm going to admit that I'm kind of scared.
I'm actually kind of nervous.
I've had beers with pepper in them before, and I don't know.
But I mean, when you look at the cap, I mean that's a nice, light baby blue. It's not necessarily that scary looking. If they wanted to scare us, it'd have been dark red and like blood down the thing. And all right, here we go. It's spicy. It's spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm
pouring out only a little bit. I have a problem with spicy beer.
So check that out. That's the color. I've only poured out a little bit because I am a bit nervous about this one.
Yeah.
This one seems very... Yeah, I would say... Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Going in for the taste.
That's not bad. I'm waiting for the follow through. I want to know what happens.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I'm trying it again.
Okay, so I've had beers before that had pepper in them, and you could really taste the pepper. You knew that the pepper was there. And it was very strong taste. It kind of overpowered everything else. This doesn't overpower. Like, I get a hint of spiciness, but it's just a hint. That's it.
Yeah. I was actually expecting it to like punch me in the face, but I'm just looking this up to see if I can find anything on this beer. I don't see anything. But I gotta say, it's not bad.
It's actually
not bad at all.
I'm really liking this. Tasty. It's got a kick to it, and if you didn't see the label, you wouldn't know what that kick was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's. I was expecting it to be, as you were saying, they're like very powerful, very present, but no, it's actually quite subtle and it kind of ignores you. So I'm not as scared as I thought.
I don't know if this is a good follow-up to Thor's Hammer, but
Thor's Hammer is definitely I mean it's so good. It's so good. I mean,
Thor's Hammer needs to be a 24th
yeah,
beer in the. It's a good Christmas Eve beer.
I would say that this particular beer is up there. Mm,
In
it's
fact,
not the best follow up, but yeah, there we go. Sorry,
in fact, I'm going to go out and see if I can find a Thor's Hammer and have it on December 24th.
I have one. I'll bring it with me.
Because you know what? December 24th, I always have a difficult time going to sleep anyway because I'm so excited that Santa's coming.
I
Um,
know. Santa is uh kind of, you know, awesome. There's nothing wrong. Sorry?
kind of, only kind of.
Okay. We're adults. And when you're an adult, uh you kind of become a little disillusioned with the way that Christmas is handled. Um,
You're starting to sound
but
Brown.
what?
You're starting to sound like Charlie Brown.
Oh,
Oh, the commercialism. Good grief.
shucks. Well, it's not. It's actually not the commercialism. I don't think commercialism is the problem. I think the problem is actually uh, general stress. And I was actually reading about this a little while ago. There was another article yesterday about how um, because of the influence of how accessible news and information is, that we are far more stressed than, say, somebody living in, I don't know, 1920, who had to wait for the daily paper, who had to uh, potentially something big would occur across the globe, and it may take a few days for that to actually show up in a newspaper.
Mm.
Um, I mean, that's why they used to have in Victoria, they had the Times, they had the Colonist. The Times, I think, was the morning paper, and the Colonist was the afternoon paper. So you had actually two newspapers per day because they had that amount of time, that sort of time lag to cover stories that might not necessarily have been ready early in the day. So, um, yeah, I don't know. There's just something about uh, the accessibility for news which can bum us out. We hear about countries that 100 years ago we wouldn't have cared about unless we were going there, and even then we would know very little. And so we're hearing about Syria and Iraq and what's going on in Yemen and all of these countries that are currently basically having their own little civil war, their civil war or a civil war. And it stresses us out because it feels a whole lot closer than it really is. And when you getting that once in a while is fine. It's like, oh my god, there's something going on in Yemen that's so horrible. But if you hear about it every single day, and then you have a bunch of talking heads that come in and start talking about these things in faraway lands and how it might impact us here, you get a little bit of an anxiety rush.
I social media and the internet will be the death of us.
I quite honestly agree. I was actually watching I've forgotten what the event was, but essentially a couple of big former higher ups in Facebook went to this event and basically were saying how Facebook is it's designed to program us into clicking on ads. And but that wasn't the big thing because that's not a huge surprise. But the part that I was actually surprised at was the person conducting the interviews asked them, some very good questions about how they felt about how, when they were involved at the company, what kinds of things did they try and change? What kind of things did they fail at? And that kind of stuff. And one of the things was um, something very, 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 so how do you feel now that you don't work there? It's been a few years. You're doing some other stuff that's very cool, but what do you think of when you think about your days at Facebook, where the guy was there for 5 years, kind of thing? Um, the first thing out of his mouth was, "I have a tremendous amount of guilt," because he was behind the architecture for a system that tries to make people emotionally invested in information that even 20 years ago we wouldn't be emotionally invested in. And and it's all in the service of clicking on an ad, um, or keeping you on the site for long periods of time, so that they can follow what it is that you're doing on the site, so they can in turn make assumptions about that data, and then sell it to somebody else. Generally, somebody who wants to put ads on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's. I mean, I've said this before on our little show here, and I've talked at length about it, so I should probably shut up. But
Yeah.
The thing that I will say about all of the social media stuff is that it does not compare to being able to drink beer and hang out with your friends online.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. So I gotta say, I was nervous about this beer. I was kind of scared, and
I was really scared.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Like, I had to take my pants. I was so scared.
You did what in your pants?
I was scared, man. I mean,
I was.
but
What's that?
You never crapped your pants when you were scared.
Well, there's this. When you said that, this what was the film? Damn it, what is the film called? Weird Science.
Oh yeah.
Where a little known fact, or people don't remember this a lot of the time, I've found, is that Robert Downey Jr. is in that film, and in a scene where he's being blasted with air, he's got lots of sort of lights on him, and he's wearing a bra on his head, and he screams at the top of his lungs, "I'm shitting in my pants!" You know, how can you really top that in a career? You can't. You even Iron Man is kind of one of those things where it's like, eh, eh. So, you know, what do you do other than accept the fact that you're shitting in your pants?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I wanted to point out, I picked up a beer the other day.
And what was it called?
Uncle Nutty's.
You picked up an Uncle Nutty's peanut butter. I want to say parfait. It wasn't a parfait.
It's a beer.
No, you couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist. I had to get it.
And what?
I have no
had yet.
So
maybe I should get one.
I think you should.
And then I'll bring it with me.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be there in like what, 3 days or so. So,
and I'm off work another 4 days. So
you're off work for another 4 days? Sweet.
Well, no, in 4 days I'm off work.
Oh, in 4 days. All right. Oh, so you're taking Friday off.
I'm taking Friday off, and then I'm done until the new year.
Nice. Well, hey, I'm behind. I fully support that. I think that we are going to have. We could have a Christmas Eve beerathon.
Yeah, probably not.
So, do you still vibrate like a 10-year-old child? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I get kind of giddy about it.
Yeah.
It's different than when I was a kid. You know, it's kind of, you know, the anticipation is, you know, with my kids, you know, that I know largely what they're going to be getting the next day, and just to, you know, see their reactions and stuff like that is kind of exciting. They're getting a bit older now, and the stuff is less exciting as they get older. But, you know, that's how it goes. And who knows? In a few years, grandkids, right?
Well, I gotta say that Dictato. I don't know where that came from, but I think the big thing is, I think that as adults, for me anyway, it's been one of those situations where you have to invent ways or reasons to be excited, and it gets harder every year, but the one thing that always makes me happy is remembering what I felt like when I got um, my X-wing fighter Star Wars toy way back when. That was always exciting. Didn't matter what I was doing, didn't matter what I was thinking about. As soon as I saw that toy, it all sort of came flooding back, where you kind of get excited all over again. Is there like a toy or a gift that you received growing up that you, I don't know, just get excited about, even if you don't have it anymore, you kind of think about it and you're like, that's what I was excited about. I was excited for that year. Like what anything like that?
Yeah. So there was three things, and actually, I still have all three.
Okay.
The first one was when I was about 4. It was a big brown Tonka van, and I still have it. It was just sort of like like a family hauler van, kind of like a camper
Is it like one
van.
of those ones? Oh, so it wasn't like one of the ones with like, a digging thing on the front or
Oh,
something.
no, it's just a van. Um, and then another one when I was about 9, maybe 10. I wanted an AFX um, car track thing,
Right.
with the electric cars that go around on it. I still have that. And the last thing was when I was 12. I don't know if you remember this product. It was called Robotics.
I do, but I never
It was
got
kind
one.
of think of Lego, but it wasn't Lego. It was like these little plastic pieces that you can put together, and
It
it
was
came
kind of
with
like
all these motors.
Capsella almost. Remember
Yeah,
Capsella?
and
Sort
yeah,
of like that. Yeah.
and you could build your own robots with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I got that. Now the thing is, with that is that it came in like 4. There was 4 different sets, and like the was like $20, and the I think $100 at the time, which back then was a lot of money. $100 was a lot of money. So I had asked for the third set, which I think was $70 or something like that. I figured that was probably a more reasonable thing to ask for. And I ended up getting the big, really expensive one. Um, I was really excited about that kit. I still have it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore. But
Right. When was the last time you sat on Santa's lap?
oh my god,
Mine was about 10 years ago. I went out shopping with a friend of mine here, and she said, "Hey, do you want to go and get our picture uh,
Santa,
with Santa?" And I said,
the big guy,
"Sure." The big guy. So I said, "Sure." And yeah, so we got in line and we were standing there waiting. There's tons of
with all
kids that
these
were
little
waiting.
children everywhere.
And Santa, you saw Santa point at one of the people, and then one of the people, they weren't dressed as an elf or anything, but one of the handlers, and oops, um, came up to us and said, "Hey, do you guys want to go into go see Santa?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing." And so they said, "Okay, well, you can go now." And we skipped ahead like 4 or 5 children. And it was basically Santa wanted a child break. So he saw a
Mm.
couple of adults kind of standing around that apparently didn't have a kid with them. So they invited us to come sit, and it was pretty cool. So, but the dude Santa did ask what I wanted for Christmas. I've forgotten what I asked for, but yeah, it was kind of fun, and it's when you get older, you kind of start losing a little bit of that magic, and I think that you have to get a little creative
You
to
don't
find
have
it.
to though.
No, you don't have to.
No,
Elaborate.
no, it's just I don't know. Christmas is my favorite time of year. It always has been. Uh, when I was a little kid, I was wound up like a top on Christmas Eve specifically. My parents had to give me drugs and actually to get me to go to sleep. Um, not nothing hard or anything. Like I'd have a
Yeah,
neocitrin or
here's some ether.
I'd have like a neocitrin or something, which like
Right.
just conks you right out. So I'd have that, even if I didn't have a cold. And I don't know. I'm still like that.
I have not had that level of excitement for a long time. So perhaps I need to get some education from you about how to actually pull that off. Because there's definitely, I mean, there are times where it's kind of like, oh, fuck, it's December. Oh, man. Yeah, so, it'd be kind of fun to not uh, do that on December 1st and just say, oh, man. So, yeah, I think that you're going to have to educate me again because I need
All
it.
right. I'm out of beer.
You want a beer? All right, well, boys and girls, thank you for watching. We will be back tomorrow, of course, for day 17. I had to think about that for a minute. Day 17 for what mystery beer awaits us in the pack of wonder. And thank you, Al. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Take
Later.
us out.
I don't. It's gone.